Hey guys, my name is John and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a basic menu with a Logic Bricks. It's going to teach you stuff when you hover over it, it changes to a different colour. When you click it, it starts or exits depending on which button you click. So it's just the basics so you can make some awesome menus from this. So let's get into it and let's learn. Alright, so we want to start off by doing a couple of things. First of all, we want to change this from Cycles Render to Blender Game. And also we want to enable an add-on by coming to User Preferences, Add-ons, and then down to Import Export, and scroll down until you find Import Images as Planes, and we'll just want to enable that. Now we've got that enabled, we want to delete the default cube, come to the top and go Shift A and then come up to Mesh, and you can see Images as Planes. We're going to click that and I'm going to go to my desktop. There'll be a link in the description to download this image, but I'm going to find bitmap.png and I'm going to go click this, import images as planes, and as you can see it's imported it. So I'm going to go to top view, and you should see if we turn on textured it should be completely black, and the reason for that is it doesn't have any lighting, so I'm just going to make it shadeless just to make it easier. As you can see, we have our two buttons. Now what we're doing here is when we hover over the object we want this one to appear, but when we're not hovering over this we want this one to appear, but when we're hovering over it we want this one to appear. So we need to make this into two objects. So we're going to do that. So we're going to go Control R, scroll up so we get two edge loops, and then I want to come over here into this panel by hitting T and enabling correct UVs. So I'm going to double tap G and move this up to about past the little sides of the image. So now we have two little buttons, and I'm going to add an edge loop in the middle, and I'm going to click X, delete. Now as you can see we have two buttons, and we want to go P, and then we want to buy loose parts. This is going to separate it by loose parts, so as you can see what's not connected got disconnected, and we got two buttons, right? So now we want to fix up the origin, so we're going to go Control Alt Shift C, and then you can see origins to geometry, so I'll click that. And as you can see, it's corrected the UVs so the origins are at all the points. So now we want to rename the meshes, and not the object name, the actual meshes data, which tells Blender where all the vertices are and stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to this top one and we want to call this off. So it's this little triangle, and we want to come down to the bottom one and we want to call it on. Alright. So now we've got that all set up, we want to duplicate this top one, move it over here, and then grab these two, and then go M, and then move them to another layer. Alright, I'm going to go Alt G to get this to the center, and this is going to be our button. So I'm going to come to Game Logic, and we want to add in a camera. So I'm going to go Shift A, Camera, Alt R, G, C. Okay, now the camera's all set up and it's in position. So now if we go to textured mode and press play, as you can see nothing's happening. We want to be able to see the mouse. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here, scroll down to display and hit mouse cursor. So it's going to show the mouse cursor. So what we're going to do now is we want to select our button, and we want to do a couple of things. So what we want to do is we want to add a mouse, and we want to change this to a mouse over, and then we want to add an edit object and then another edit object. So the first edit object is going to replace the mesh with the mesh on, and now watch as we move the cursor over our button. As you can see, it changes and we have that nice orange button, sorry. But as you can see, when we come off it, it stays the same. So we want to add in a NAND controller, and we want to connect this up. And then we want to connect this to this, and then we want to remesh, and then we want to remesh it to off. Right? So now, if we hover over it, as you can see, it's changes that orange color, but if we go off it, it changes back. So as you can see, we can tell when we're hovering over it. Now we want this button to actually do something, because it's a bit boring if it doesn't.
kind of useless too. So we want to add in a mouse, and this is going to be left button, just leave it like that. And we're going to add in, since this button says exit, why not use it for an exit? So we're going to use the game actuator, and we are going to change it to quit game. And we're going to connect this up to mouse left button. Now if I click, as you can see it exits, but I can click anywhere and it's going to exit. So we just want to connect this mouse over to this mouse left click. As you can see, mouse over to mouse left click. Now I can click anywhere, but if I click on this, it exits it. So I can't click anywhere, but if I click on it, it exits. Okay, so if you wanted to open up another blend file, there's a couple of things you need to know. First of all, if you don't want a mouse showing up on your new blend file that you open up, like if it's a level or something you have first person shooter, you want to disable this, because this is always going to show the mouse cursor everywhere. And you want to add an empty and or add an always sensor, and then add a mouse actuator, and we're going to connect these up, and this is going to make the mouse visible, but when you go to a new scene it's not. Alright, so this is a much better way to do it. Okay, so one last thing that you need to know before this is you want all your scenes to be using the same kind of shading type if you're going to use this, because it's going to carry the same shading type across all your scenes. So let's say the other scene is multi-textured, then this is not going to work because it's going to try and run the GLSL on that scene, and its texture is going to be messed up. Or this one might be multi-textured, that scene might be GLSL, but this is going to do multi-texture, so it's not going to work. So you want them all of your scenes to be the same. You want them all to be GLSL or all to be multi-textured. So as you can see, if I was to grab this and change it to start game from file, and I'll select a game or a blend file, so I'll grab something I've been working on. So let's try this one. I'm going to accept, and now if I click it, it will take a while to load, and once it loads you will see that we have a game that runs, and you can't see the mouse, and runs all perfectly, and it's running with GLSL, and there you go.
If you have any questions about this tutorial or ideas for upcoming tutorials, comment them down below, and also subscribe because I come out with a new tutorial every single Friday.